You all have probably cooked with a stainless steel pan, and most of you have probably cooked with a cast iron pan at least once in your life. But my question for you is, have you ever used a carbon steel pan? This is the blue carbon steel pan from Maiden. They sent me this a while back and I sort of forgot about it. It got lost within my move. I realized it's got a little rust on the bottom, it's probably poorly stored, and it needs to be seasoned. A carbon steel pan is sort of the best of both worlds. It takes everything that's good about a stainless steel pan and a cast iron pan and combines them into one pan. It distributes and retains heat like a cast iron pan does, but it's light and versatile like a stainless steel pan. It also heats up fast like a stainless steel pan does. This is the pan of choice for most restaurants. Many consider it to be a kitchen workhorse. However, if there is one downside to this pan, it is that it adopts the maintenance of a cast iron, meaning it can rust and it needs to be seasoned. And if you're lazy like me, that might seem like an annoying thing to do. But like most things, it's much easier than you think. And today we're gonna break it down with two methods. One on the cooktop and an oven method. When you think about seasoning anything, think about the pan the same way you think about your face. When you get in the shower, you get a hot shower, it kind of opens up your pores. So, when you're trying to clean, that's the best time to do it. Get the cleansing liquid inside the pores, wash them out, face is clean. Similar idea with a pan. A pan has pores. When it heats up, the pores open up more. And that's an opportunity for us to slick it with oil that sort of fills those pores up and creates a non-stick surface inside of a steel pan. Same idea with a cast iron pan. So first step is we're gonna wash the pan out really well. Now this is a new pan. If you've got one that's got some rust on it or some stuck on bits, then you might wanna use a scouring pad and scrape off all of that stuff till it's smooth, and then you can start to re-season it. Whenever you're done putting water into the cast iron, just a heads up, this video triggered my dyslexia, so if I say cast iron instead of carbon steel, just know I mean carbon steel, please. Thank you. Iron, washing it or whatever, and just let it sit on the flame. That heat's gonna dry out the pan thoroughly. Heating it before adding the oil, just make sure that there's no residual water left over before seasoning the pan. Now let's talk about the oils. The oil is going to be the thing that polymerizes to the pan that makes it non-stick. But the heating is important. Now I'm gonna use sunflower oil, and I know the smoke point to that is around 425 to 450, which means I need to get the pan, whether I'm making it on the stove or the oven, at least 450 degrees or over to reach the smoke point, to get it to polymerize. So whatever oil you use, make sure you know what the smoke point is, and then make sure your heat is slightly higher than that to achieve the seasoning. Now we just want to heat the carbon steel up for about 5 to 10 minutes. This is going to dry the pan of any moisture after washing it, as well as it's going to open up those pores and allow that oil to get in. Once it's preheated at a very small amount of your oil of choice, I like to pour it into a paper towel and then rub the paper towel onto the steel, both sides of the pan. Then take a kitchen rag that you don't care about and wipe the pan as dry as you can. You don't want to see any shiny oil spots. You don't want to see any accumulation of oil in any corners. It's going to create uneven seasoning. The pores in the pan are microscopic, so you only need the smallest amount of oil to season the pan. Any more, you're going to run the risk of sticky or tacky spots or uneven seasoning. On medium to medium high heat, heat the pan for 5 to 10 more minutes. We really want to get the pan hot now to its smoke point, and we want to move the pan around, let the sides hit the heat so that the pan can heat up as evenly as possible. This method doesn't work on an electric stove because it will not heat the side of the pans evenly. This is the point when you're going to start to produce some smoke, so you want to be well ventilated. After 5 to 10 minutes, once smoking and the pan is properly heated, turn the heat off and let that pan cool down completely. And once it's cooled, your pan's ready to use, or you can repeat this step as many times as you want to build that seasoning. Now for the oven method. It starts by placing a foil-lined baking sheet into the bottom rack of your oven and preheat it to 475 to 500. This method is way more foolproof. It's going to heat the pan more evenly than the stovetop. So this is my recommended method. Now after you've washed your pan, you want to get it onto the stove, and you're going to heat the pan up again, dry it, make sure there's no moisture, and open up those pores. We're going to turn the heat off. We're going to add a small amount of oil. We're going to rub all sides of the pan. Then we're going to take a kitchen towel, wipe it completely dry. and then transfer it to the oven and place it upside down above the foil lined baking sheet. The idea of the baking sheet is to catch any excess oil, but if you did your job right, it's really not going to be needed. I like it there just in case. Leave the pan in there for an hour. After 1 hour, turn your oven off, leave the pan in the oven and let it cool down to the touch. Once it's cooled, your pan is now ready to use, or you could repeat these steps to continue to build more layers of seasoning and non-stick in your pan. And then when it's cooled to the touch, it should be seasoned. Run your hand along the pan, make sure there's no sticky spots or like blotchy, tacky, oily buildup. If that happens, that's either because you added too much oil, or you didn't wipe out enough, or your heat wasn't high enough, depending on which oil you used. So the good rule of thumb is just go 25 degrees higher than whichever oil you're using. Sunflower oil is 425 to 450. I did it at 475 just to be safe. If you've got any tacky stuff, it's okay. They're imperfections. You can always start over. You can always just cook with it. It's not a big deal. Don't make this a big deal. If it's imperfect, it's okay. But as you can see, the color changes. It gets darker. You can see a transformation happen, and that's basically what you're looking for. So I know I gotta keep seasoning my pan maybe 1 or 2 more times. If you got any seasoning questions, hit me up on Instagram at @thefoodfreak. Otherwise, that's all that I have today. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and go feed yourself.